Hello, welcome to Horror Dork. I'm Mr. Sir. Joining me as always is my friend Golden.
He had like a whole intro he wanted to do and everything.
You had an
I was gonna be all like trapped in
sorry.
time.
Yeah, it's all good.
Trapped in
The thing
time,
came on
surrounded by
and
evil,
nobody was
low
saying
on
anything.
gas.
I
so
was
wanted
I was
to-
waiting for him to go.
So let me ask you, Anthony. Is everyone from New York such loudmouth braggarts?
What's the line again? Just
You
kidding.
fuck.
Just me, baby.
That's okay. Welcome to the third take of. So yeah, it's we're gonna be talking about Evil Dead, starring Bruce Campbell and
Starring Jane Levy. Yeah, we're talking the 2013 Evil Dead, the reimagining, I guess, because it's not a remake. Not real, sort of a sequel, sort of not, sort of
Evil Dead, like the Evil Dead franchise has so many re's in it.
right.
Like there was because like Evil Dead 2, if you talk to people, they're like, well, the beginning was like a remake of the first one.
Yeah,
But it's
like
not a
sort of-
remake, and it's this, and then you got the 2013, which they're like, is it a sequel or is it a reboot or is it a remake? And it's like, well, it's
sort of
kind
like in the
all
middle.
of them.
Yeah, it's sort of like in the middle. Like
And-
it's not like it's like one of those things where it's like in continuity, but like not is like it's like sort of its own thing. But you could it's sort of like another horror movie that came out recently that's like sort of in this vein is Candyman,
Yeah.
the new one.
I think the best way to look at this movie is, and this is something that you'll feel as a parent, is have you bought your children something that you always wanted as a kid, but your parents were like, no, we don't have the money?
Yeah, yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
what this is. Sam Raimi was like, we didn't have the money to make Evil Dead this way, but I can give you the money to make it this
Right.
way, and that's what they did.
So
And he
there's
even has come out and said this is what he imagined the movie to be if they would have had even $1 like to put
Oh.
into it.
there's a couple interesting things. One, I don't feel that this is a sequel. I feel like it's a straight reboot. But it's like soft enough of a reboot where it uses a lot of the elements from the first movie without feeling it has to be its own thing entirely.
Right.
It has the
The
certain
book's
nods.
different. The way the Deadites are different. a little
Yeah,
bit.
if they would have like went forward with the plan that they had, which was going to be
Oh,
then
oh, one thing though, I don't know about you guys, but I got immaculate vibes from this movie.
yeah, the movie has immaculate
Definitely
vibes.
immaculate vibes.
So it opens up and it lets you know exactly what the mission statement is, which is "fuck you." This movie's it's like one of the meanest horror movies. Like it's just so nasty. I love it. It's so it's one of we've talked about this in in an episode that probably is not going to come out. I don't think because I think it got lost. But movies that blend CGI with practical in like a good way. And
I thought there was no CGI in this movie.
there's like
No,
little
I thought that's what the Fatty Alvarez said, that there's no CGI.
no
I
CGI.
think it's all layered film and stuff. Yeah,
Okay,
I thought
I thought
that's what he thought.
some of the stuff with like
The fire in the beginning,
what about when she like licks the
Nope.
razor?
that is all
It's a
prosthetic.
That's oh okay.
Really cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, what I thought was what he
Fucking
did was
disturbing,
like
too.
what they sort of do, like what you want CGI in horror movies to be is what just to like kind of clean up the practical just enough to where
Blur the edges.
yeah to where it looks real, and this stuff looks so good. The
does look
effects in this movie are insane.
So there was a big holdup for a while as far as getting a remake done for Evil Dead, and the big issue was one of the producers, Golden. I think you're a little familiar with this guy, Bruce Campbell. I'm not sure. No,
About to say
Golden's a
anything
big fan
bad
of
about Bruce Campbell, it's gonna
Bruce
be
Campbell,
bad.
like ultimate.
He's my hero.
Yeah.
He's just the guy that produced it, right? He doesn't have any. He didn't do anything.
But the-
else.
He gets
like-
likeness rights too.
It was like Sam
actively
Raimi, Robert
involved-
Tapaport, and,
actively involved as a producer though. So he had to sign off on it.
oh yeah,
So-
yeah.
And his whole thing was that he didn't want anyone else to play Ash, not so much that it's his character, but he just didn't think fans would like it. He didn't want to see someone else really in that role.
I mean,
That's
he's right,
correct. I mean,
The, the gatekeepers in
good-
Evil Dead is disturbingly bad.
Yeah,
It's-
any
it's
big franchise
so-
like that, right?
But and it's so funny because like when this came out, a lot of my friends expected me to be a gatekeeper.
This movie like has people that don't like it, and I swear, I'm really certain a good portion of them just don't like it because it's called Evil Dead. Like legitimately, like I think that was like a huge deterrent for people. Like they're sick of remakes, they're sick of, and Evil Dead is like such like a is like an important movie for a lot of like horror fans. I love the first one. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead series as a whole. There's no whack Evil Dead anything. I love Army of Darkness. Army of
Also
Darkness
known
might
as
be
Big
my
Evil Dead.
yeah. Army of Darkness might be my favorite one. But what I was saying, what I was getting to with the original plan for these, why I kind of consider it a sequel. It was because they were kind of going to make it a sequel. They were going to do Army of Darkness 2, which sort of got turned into Ash versus Evil Dead. And then they were going to do a proper sequel to this movie. And then a third movie was going to be a joint Evil Dead, Mia and Ash versus the Deadites.
Bruce is
which
like, I'm too old for that.
and Mia, I think, is a really good protagonist. Like she's sort of the antagonist for a good portion of the movie. And
But you notice she's the only one as a Deadite or regular person that doesn't kill anybody.
oh, it is true. I didn't.
Didn't she
I
kill
never.
the dog.
But
Okay.
she was possessed.
Because
does
that'll
kill
get
the
you
dog.
low fucking ranks.
She does. You're right. She does kill the
That'll
dog.
get you low ranks
she gives
in the old
She
podcast.
doesn't kill any people.
She gives Grandpa the old Chris Barnes treatment. Gives him a hammer smashed face.
So Bruce Campbell said in this movie that he doesn't view it as a sequel.
okay.
He views it as part of the same universe, but just parallel universes. So maybe they had plans to parallel.
There's another one, and maybe it's a little closer to what we're talking about. Is the 2016 Ghostbusters is also like sort of like one of those things where it's like in name, and it has like sort of the same beats and everything, but it's like separate, like kind of like a parallel like timeline or whatever.
So, as I was saying, Bruce Campbell wouldn't sign off because he didn't want to see Ash being done in a bad way or being done in a way it was already done before. So the whole idea of Ash being an Evil Dead movie, which is not working for him, from everything that I've gathered from what he has said. So, meanwhile, 2011 or so, Fede Alvarez has this hit viral video. It's a short film called Panic Attack, where these big giant. Do you remember this? We watched it for the original time we did this on Horror Dork back in 2013.
Honestly,
we watched
dude, I don't
the short film
remember
Panic
this at
Attack.
all.
It's these giant robots that attack a city, and there was an idea to turn it into a movie. Sam Raimi was going to either produce it or executive produce it, but it got caught up in development hell. So while that's all going on, Fede Alvarez pitched him his idea for Evil Dead because he was a huge Evil Dead fan. Bruce Campbell took a look at the script. It didn't have Ash in it at all, which he loved, and it just everything started clicking and it got into motion, and that's how this movie actually came about.
Yeah, I'm. Don't go.
No. I just wanted to. I was just gonna. If you're gonna add on to that, I wanted to.
No.
Because I'm gonna change.
No. Go
So
for it.
the movie starts off with very great opening. The character is in the woods. The main character, it's a girl. She gets kidnapped by these two hillbilly looking dudes. Is that offensive, Golden? I'm sorry. And
wow. Wow. I am a hillbilly dude and look alone. That's it. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Wow.
So
Golden drove here on an old jalopy.
yeah.
He came in to
With his
the
banjo.
Deliverance, playing a punk version of the Deliverance theme.
That's on brand.
So these characters, these gentlemen of the woods, of the farmlands, gentlemen of the farmlands, take her into the basement and they tie her to this log and stuff. There's a extra in the background, and he's deformed. I
It's
listened.
also not offensive to me. Son of a bitch.
Listening to the audio commentary, which I did a long time ago, but that guy survived 2 plane accidents.
I
2
was gonna
plane
say,
crashes.
like, it looks like those didn't look like prosthetics. It looked like he was like a burn
But
victim.
think about that. He didn't survive 1 plane crash. He
That's-
survived 2.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, why get on a plane then again?
DJAM
Maybe-
didn't even.
I'm gonna tell you,
survive one.
if I'm in one plane crash, guess what? I'm not doing ever again. Getting on a plane. Just
Yeah.
throwing
I
it out
mean,
there.
usually you only need the one plane crash.
I'm saying, fool me once, shame on you. Shoot, fool me twice, plane on me. It's a pun.
That was something cool. I wanted to add.
One thing,
Oh, you're fine.
Cool
one thing
fact.
that
Yeah.
I feel like is
Cool that happened to him.
a thing that I
Here's
really
a cool
like.
fact.
One thing that I really like about the Evil Dead movie, and I mean it's obviously been done other things too.
Wait, I
but-
thought
and they-
you hated Evil.
how I'm gonna punch you right in the face. Is the hero's always very flawed, like, and I think that's huge because, like, I mean, if you watch like with the Ash character, while he's over the top and he's this loudmouth bragger,
Right.
he also doesn't want to be the fucking hero ever.
No.
It's just when it finally gets to a point where he's like, all right, I guess it's time to strap on the chainsaw and all this. And then with this one, you get she's there to detox.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I really liked about this movie and how it
And her friends
kind of like sets itself apart from the original one. Is this is under the guise of her getting clean from drugs, and at first you're not sure. They do it in a way where so you're not trusting her. They don't know that they're going to be in a Evil Dead movie, and
didn't
they
read the
think that
script.
she's not acting rationally. She wouldn't be anyways. And a smart thing that they do in this movie is they don't go heavy on the supernatural stuff at all. Nobody's like floating and stuff. There's like everything is like in that sense it's grounded. Like obviously there's and the characters don't really I mean the main guy, I think his name is Dave, David,
yes.
his he's in denial the whole time while his buddy is like, "Hey man, I opened up this book and we're
He's the worst part of this fucking
He-
movie
I
too.
don't think so. I
You
thought
wouldn't.
that initially, but
'Cause
going
that'd be
back and
you in the movie.
rewatching this,
well, here's
I
the thing.
rewatched it a couple times to
For-
make sure I wasn't crazy.
for what
Not
he-
just for this, but
For what he does, like for sort of like honestly it's like sort of implied that this even before they opened up the book, the vibes were already bad in that house and it was the cabin, and something was sort of already like in the
well, they find all
motions
the
and
dead
everything.
cats.
Yeah, they find
They
it.
don't get an idea that anything's emotional, but they find a bunch of dead cats in the basement.
Well, they find the dead cat. She smells it, and I kind of felt like not just because her senses are all kind of amped up because she's detoxing and that happens to you, everything gets kind of like cranked up, but I also felt like a part of that is like it's like kind of like they're being drawn to it as well because not only that once they're down there, he's even before he takes off the bag because the Necronomicon is like encased in a black garbage bag that's been wrapped in barbed wire.
And scribbled out.
Yeah. Well, even before he opens up the bag, you hear like whispers and stuff. Like Eric, the guy the friend that finds the book and everything down in the basement, he's already like it's already like he's being like kind of like drawn to it and stuff. I'm
Well, maybe. I mean, it definitely stands out. It's something that's wrapped in a black bag and barbed wire, and
Yeah.
they have no idea what it is till they open it.
right, but once the words are spoken, then it becomes very much
It
it's
makes-
all the rails are off.
So I'm gonna say one thing that's gonna call, well, not that it's gonna. I'm gonna call bullshit on Golden's theory here about
Okay.
this guy reading the book.
It was horrible.
If that book even went further and had a do not read right on the cover, you would still read that book.
The only
This
book
is-
that
yeah,
I read that says "do not read" on the cover is the book called "Do Not Read This Book," but that's because it's a children's book and my daughter loves it.
I don't believe it.
I've watched enough horror movies. I'm not going to read the book. I'm like, nah.
Your curiosity
Especially-
wouldn't get the best of you.
No.
Honestly,
To
here's
me,
the thing:
And
is
these guys aren't horror fans.
that's true. They're not. They don't know they're
He's a
an Evil
teacher.
Dead. Yeah.
He's from an academic background. This guy wants to study this book and see what the fuck.
But
it
do you
is.
think that's why the book was calling out to him? Like,
if it was, yeah,
because they go after
that would be
Mia, right? Mia?
that
Yeah, Mia's
They
there.
go
That's a
after her
good
because
point, Golden.
she's
That's
the
a great
weakest
point.
person
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So they know that she's the easiest
Most
entry
vulnerable.
point.
Yeah.
They call to him because of his academic curiosity. Because if they would have called to David, who's like
Yeah.
a jock, he'd been like, "Book, what book do?" I don't know.
What
I
book
don't know why
do?
what like that dumb with him. But-
But he is sort of a blank slate a little bit. Like that character.
But
Like
do you think that
of
was a
all-
red herring?
yes.
Like, 'cause
oh
you
yeah,
went into
yeah,
the
yeah.
movie thinking this is Ash.
for sure.
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
in
This guy is Ash, and then
2013,
he's not
No,
Ash.
That's what I
that
thought.
was definitely the
Which
they
well
were-
played.
Yeah, 100%. I
Well
agree.
played. Don't wink at me. I'm gonna punch you right in the face by the end of this thing.
How's that different than any other podcast?
That's true.
And with Eric being sort of the catalyst for it, it does I don't feel like he definitely earns what he did because he's the one that is most brutalized by everything that happens in this
But, and
movie.
that's
Yeah,
the thing though
but
too is like
He has no idea what he's doing when he's doing
No, I
it.
understand. I know nobody
And it's
does.
not like this is something that he should know.
No, no, I'm not saying that. But in like the original movies, they play the tape.
yeah, exactly. They had no idea what was on it. It's not like it was this cursed looking tape recorder made out of human flesh. They're like, oh, that sounds like it'd be fun to play. They're just like, oh, we're bored because we're in a cabin and we didn't bring board games. So let's just turn this thing on, and all of a sudden it just speaks these weird words, and you're like, oh, that's funny.
I mean,
I got a little
that's
tickle
part
now.
of. I mean, that's part of like.
Whereas this one, he's like reading this fucking. He's like,
don't
I'm
feel
gonna
like
use the
it's
old
deserving.
detective trick to like scribble with a pencil.
But if they do that, all that stuff to make you, it goes, all right, well, now what's going to be happening is sort of earned. Like that's why,
Right.
because they make it like it's like like a more extreme version of the first movie.
Well, Sam Raimi has 3 rules, right? For if you're making a horror movie for him.
It's a Klaatu, Verada, and Nikto.
Well, like one of them's the innocent have to suffer. And the more innocent a character is, the more that they should
Yeah,
suffer.
Mia is definitely a
Well, I'm
super-
thinking Eric too. Like he's completely innocent of all this. He read the words, but it's not like he
That's true.
knowingly invoked it. And once he realizes it, he realizes he has to stop it.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
were
you're right.
pictures in the book showing fucking demons.
Okay. There's
How
lots
do you-
of
He didn't know
This
he was
isn't
doing
the
a
only
demon book.
book that
He
has
wasn't
this.
reading. He wasn't reading Grover's. There's a monster at the end of this book. It was pictures of demons
Grover's.
in a book made out of human flesh. And you even
Hold
said
on, hold
he's an
on.
academic. He absolutely knew what he
This
was
ain't
doing.
the only book that has pictures of demons in it.
You two need to stop 1 second because not only does it have that, but it also has stuff that says, "Don't read this book." Written out other than that,
It does
it's like,
say that.
Stop. And the page that is like the evil page, it has been taken out, and they're like, "Stop this! I know what you're trying to do. Don't do this.
Thank
Please
you.
stop." And he's like, "Well, I guess I got to do."
He knew 100%
saying-
what he
I-
was doing. He didn't know
I-
that he was going to unleash demons, but he
I
knew that was a
agree.
book
It's
about
handwritten.
demons.
I agree
pages,
with
and
both
as
of
far
you.
as he
It doesn't
knows,
bother
it's-
me at all.
As far as he knows, the supernatural does not exist at all. So he has nothing to worry about handwritten pages
But
being
he
on a
still knew what he was
you-
reading.
If you were reading that book, Mr. Sir, would you think it was real?
No.
Even being a horror fan?
No, I wouldn't think.
Even
It's
with that
really
writing in
cool
there?
looking. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you would think it's real as far as like this looks like skin or whatever, but you wouldn't think that like it would work.
He thinks it's some hokey witchcraft hillbilly stuff. Sorry, Golden.
Again, really?
That's the last time.
Yeah, well, because they're like, "What is this Wicca?"
and-
He's
and-
like, "No, it's not. It's not voodoo. It's not. It's
Yeah.
something else."
So he's thinking the people that are writing this book actually believe this, but he does not think it's true.
That doesn't make him innocent.
Yes, it does.
I could sit there and
What
go,
makes you
oh,
guilty?
I don't think cocaine alters my brain and then snort it. So then you're saying, well, it's okay.
Sure.
He didn't think
He
it was
is guilty
true.
in the sense that he committed the actions, but I would still consider him more innocent because there's no reason for him to know his actions
Right.
are going to be wrong.
No, yeah, no, he
But he
paid.
still
Like,
knew what he
what
was
I what I said. It. What? Okay, hold on. We need to get off this because no. But yeah, you're totally right in that. In that, yes, he's innocent in that he didn't know what he was doing at all and everything. And I agree with Golden and in the sense that what because he ignored the warning signs that were obviously there, this stuff is going to happen to him. I think like we're
If you keep it up, I'm gonna knock that fence over.
so what is like what did you think when you first saw the movie in theaters, Golden?
I was excited. I thought for sure. I was like, wow, they're really going to put Ash in this movie without putting Ash in the movie because I really thought that was David. Like I thought,
Right.
and I liked that they did hits really quick to be like nice nods to the original because they did the obviously the Oldsmobile and they did the necklace.
Yeah.
Both like how it looked because that was which is also a fun story about that necklace. But also, like, 'cause when it dropped, it made like the chain made that
Tell the story.
skull. Originally, because it was in the original Evil Dead, that necklace was they found it. I want to say like they found it in like a antique shop or whatever, and it's like absolutely hideous. And they know it was, but like the plan was originally that they were going to focus light through that like magnifying glass to burn the book, and then they didn't go with
Oh.
that. But that's why that ugly ass thing is like what he gives to his girlfriend. She's like, "Oh my god, I love it!" Like no woman in the right, the only woman
Yeah,
that's
that
gonna love
necklace
you giving
sucks.
them that necklace is 100% Evil Dead fan at this point. Because no normal woman would be like, "Oh my god, it's so beautiful." Because
That
it's
I-
hideous.
but no, but that is like a guy gift to be like
you like
girls
magnifying
like
glasses.
girls like necklaces and this look how big this is.
Also, like I
To see through
remember.
diamond.
I remember also in the theaters going, "What the? Or did you just fucking do that?" Like, because when she does her ceremonial dumping it out, I'm like, "You just dumped out the drugs in your fucking drinking water." Like, I mean, I get how diluted that would be and stuff, but that's
Yeah.
still no. That's just a dumb move. Like, no matter who you are, going, you could have scattered it to the fucking breeze. Why would you pour it into your drinking water? Like, this is where this should go. The last of my drugs.
Maybe she knew what she was doing.
Dun dun dun.
But I cut you off. You
It
were
was
making
all
a point
drugging.
about the necklace and some stuff being familiar from the first movie.
Oh yeah, they definitely did the good nods. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Part of me would have loved to see a like 100% like Sam Raimi's done in so many other things. The called Evil Dead, which is the floating person. Like that
Right.
shot is like very iconic. And I mean, he does it in Drag Me to Hell. He does it in like I think doesn't he do it in Multiverse of Madness? Like he does something like
There's
that.
lots of
Well,
floating.
Wanda floats for
There's
sure.
lo-
Oh yeah, but, like
Doctor
I mean
Strange
that like
floats.
that's
I mean,
certain
like,
kind of
everybody
shot
does.
though, like the way.
Yeah, no, I
where they
got that.
But
almost
he didn't
look like
direct
they're
this
a
movie.
puppet. Yeah, but it was still nods to him.
No, but that was like something the
Stop.
director, like I believe, like went out of his way to do is to
Yeah.
like not make
Well,
it like
The
supernatural.
Reign of the Blood though
looking.
too was
Oh my god,
that was
that's
a nod to Sam Raimi and like because if like
well, yeah, like
I've obviously a huge Evil Dead fan. I've read all the books too, including the Evil Dead Companion. And if you remember in the first Evil Dead, like where the blood was flowing into the light bulb and stuff, that was because like he had read somewhere, like someone was saying, like if you're doing horror, you need to have the blood, blood flowing from the wall, like meaning like just so much blood. So like when they have a budget, they're like, yeah, we'll fucking
yeah,
we'll take
that
your,
was
your light bulb and we're
that
just
was
gonna
like
go.
a
It's
big-
raining blood.
That's what, yeah, because I mean, look, Evil Dead 2, they got the geyser that comes out of the wall, and then in Evil Dead in Army of Darkness, they got the well that shoots up the
Shoots out
geyser.
so much blood.
So with this one, that I think they just were like, we're going to we're gonna this ain't your daddy's Evil Dead. We're gonna have it like literally become a Slayer song. It's gonna rain.
It was definitely a
blood.
heavy metal cover,
Dude.
album cover.
The ending to this movie is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like and you think like there's like two false endings. Like you think that Mia's dead. Like honestly, like it's not over yet because you're like, well, that wasn't an ending to an Evil Dead. And Eric shows up, the place they blow up the cabin. You think it's over, and then it
They burn
starts
it.
raining blood, and then the demon comes out of the ground. It's just
What about the do you think his homemade defibrillator would have worked?
absolutely not. But like in the
Even
real
real
in
defibrillators don't
the
work like
world
that.
of this movie, I'm willing to believe
yeah.
it. Like
I mean, it definitely
doesn't.
would send jolts.
Do you feel
Yeah,
like that was
100%.
a nod to the original franchise too, with like Army of Darkness?
Well,
where
they did the whole
somehow
cutting
Ash
sequence
does,
in the
like-
shed,
right?
or well, with the
I
door.
was just saying, like, how like
No, I
in
got
Army of
you. Like
Darkness,
how
Ash
is just
with his chemistry 101 fucking book is like, I built this vehicle.
he is
and
an
gunpowder. Like,
but he is a mechanic. Like the David character is because he said because a reason why that he wasn't able to go visit their dying mom, a reason
that
why
was a
she's
fucking gut punch. too.
reason why Mia is like a drug addict is she had to watch her mom die. Another reason why she relapsed, but like he says like I just got the job at the shop or whatever. I believe is what he said.
One of my favorite things that they do in the Evil Dead franchise is that like because it happens in all of them where like the clearly deadite like change like all of a sudden starts talking and like goes for like the emotional gut punches. Like in
Yeah.
this, when she's like, "Mom asks about you every day," like that's the thing that's in the Evil Dead movies, and it's always so
Yeah.
well done. Like it's always so well done. In the original franchise, it was her singing the fucking lullaby too, and I think that's one of the things I love when they do it in there, and they did it in this, and they did it so good, like because it's the whole your mom was asking.
What was your favorite Deadite scene?
I mean, the one that I think was the hardest to watch was the licking of the
Yeah, that was
thing. That was a
cool.
hard, really
Yeah,
hard
me
to
in
watch.
the basement. Anthony, I'm sorry. We kind of talked about this movie before because I think we reviewed it on Horror Dork. But what was your relationship to what were your expectations
Siblings.
going into this movie?
Oh, I didn't have any expectations going into this movie. The only thing I was wondering is would I still think it was as good as I did back in 2013? I don't think that's the case, though I didn't like it any less. So I think maybe I had overhyped it to myself a little bit, remembering some of the stuff that I really enjoyed. But there's so much practical stuff in this movie that if you're a horror fan who enjoys practical effects, I can't find a reason for you to dislike this.
It looked real.
There were-
Like the part at the end when the demon flips over the Jeep onto Mia's arm and she has to get to the
Bring it up.
chainsaw, she has to
You should
pull
see.
her arm off.
You should see how multi-layered that effect actually is.
Yeah.
There's so many parts on that, like the strands for the tendons and the actual tissue itself on top of a prosthetic. It's really, really, really.
It made my heart. Even watching it last night, I've watched this movie a dozen times. I'm watching it last night for the show. It makes your heart stop because it looks so real. And I watched the unrated one, and I don't remember exactly what the differences are, other than like there's like extended gore scenes, and I believe there's a couple like character scenes that are like a little extended, but a lot of the stuff is just like because the movie was originally going to get an NC-17, which obviously I don't know what the differences are, but like that stuff, that scene was gruesome. The part where I'm sure Golden's favorite part when Eric walks in on his girlfriend, the nurse, who's just gotten taken over by the force and is cutting and is stabbing him in the eye with the needle. Real tough looking.
There's
It's right through his glasses too. It's real.
Yeah,
it's
I remember-
real visceral.
I remember a hard cringe in the theater when that happened, because that on the big screen, I was like, "Brrr."
There's a couple practical effects that Golden would appreciate for his own personal use that are really simple, a lot simpler than I thought for them to pull off. For
How
example,
did they do the stuff in the hand? That stuff was so.
when he pulls a nail out.
No, when the David's girlfriend, I don't remember her name, the blonde girl, she gets bit by Mia, and then she's like trying to
That was all prosthetic.
rinse out her hand, and it's just got like
And there was ooze in it. Yeah, that was
Natalie.
that was Natalie. Yeah,
Natalie,
Nat. There was stuff under there that she was able to actually pull from the prosthetic.
and then so when it's like going up her arm, that was
I don't think it shows it going up her arm. It keeps cutting back to it, and it gets longer and longer.
this is a good editing trick though, because how I
Fantastic
remember
editor on
how
this
I
movie.
how I remember it is it going up her arm, but like
I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong on that, but no, I'm pretty sure it just kept cutting back because I was the second time I watched it this week. So with probably like you, Mr. Sir, Golden's a little different because he's super busy. But
A little different.
if we're watching a movie for the podcast and I actually like super enjoy it, I'll watch it a couple times.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So but the second time that I watched it, which was yesterday morning, I was trying to pay attention to that part, but you get distracted when stuff's going on screen. So I can't remember if I actually paid attention enough to notice. But so the part with the nail where he pulls out the nail, because that's the scene that everyone talks about a lot.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's just a nail sitting in between his fingers. That's it.
Right.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah, super
So
cool, right?
They went back
Yeah,
to like
they
the
did
old
that
school thing when
really
you were a kid.
completely.
You would have the sword in your armpit and go,
All of these effects, a lot of them are just all old
I
school.
don't know why I was
practical
under the impression that like there was like CG, like maybe not CG like any
If
of the
there is,
effects
it's
were
very
CG.
minimal. But
Yeah, like I was saying, like some of the shots, like where the blood
There's one
goes
thing I
right,
wanna tell you too.
hits the necklace like right through the
Mhm.
thing.
the part where her arm gets shot off, Nat's
Yeah.
arm, so it cuts, and there you see the prosthetic arm that's missing the big chunk. They had a fishing line attached to, and there's gonna. So I mean, I guess there would be some CG like they got to do some scrubbing, but you can do that in film too. You don't need camera to computer, but it looks bad.
Right.
They tried just flinging it off, but it didn't work. Fatty Alvarez just threw the arm, so it hit the wall,
So,
and it looks so good.
Yeah, it does.
so here the burning question is: so this was where does this tree rape scene rank amongst the tree rape scenes? Because now there's 4. I mean, I haven't seen Evil Dead Rise, so there might
Okay,
be
so
5.
that has to be.
But there's 4.
There has to be
Evil
CGI
Dead.
at that part.
Yeah.
I don't
say
even mean
that.
for CGI.
I
I
was
just
saying
mean, where do you put that in the ranking of the 4 different
There's-
tree rapes?
is there
there's
one
4?
in Evil Army of
No,
Darkness?
but there's one in Evil Dead the musical.
I
I've
haven't
never
seen
seen
the
that.
Evil Dead.
Oh, it's well done. It's very comical.
I've heard it's good.
It's very
Uh,
very tasteful.
It's actually one of my favorite parts of Evil Dead the musical because what it is it's dudes in tree costumes, and so the girl
Wait, there's a tree rape scene in the show, right?
there probably is. So yeah, I guess there's 5.
I don't remember.
There's a lot
Maybe
of
not, maybe
cra-
not.
like it's hard to remember all the great things in the show because there's 3 seasons of amazingness. But in the musical, like so the sister comes out and she's just like she goes, well, Mama always told me if you hear something weird in the dark, creepy woods, you should go check it out. So she's just like out there walking,
That's awesome.
and then like when her back's turned to this tree background, it's all guys in tree costumes.
Gotcha.
And like every time it's doing the thing where she turns around and like they close like their eyes so she doesn't see that they're there, and then they do the comedic sneeze, bless you. And then she's like, oh, and so she's running, and she's like running in place, and they're running in place behind her, and then she slowly, as she's running in place, backs up to where she's right there, and then they like kind of comedically hump her, and that's the tree rape scene in that. And then also they do a fun callback where they run into the hillbilly. No offense, Golden. They run into the hillbilly and they're like, what are you doing out here walking in the creepy woods all alone? And he goes, well, I was going to be walking in the creepy woods with my wife, but after that other girl got raped by the trees, it just seemed redundant. And that I laughed so hard during the musical at that part just because it was so hilarious, like in meta. But
I would have to put this one maybe number 2 because the one in the original one, I just remember because it's just like so visceral. I just seeing that piece of wood go up there it just made such an impression on me. But seeing that slug and that impossibly huge
Ugh.
slug just go.
It's not
Right
just that;
up
it's
her-
the thorns on the thing.
Yeah, that's
So, what are we rating this off of? Like gruesome factor.
Just favorites.
You're asking what
Well, you liked.
what
I thought that
what I prefer my rape scenes
I
to
just
look
wanted
like.
to bring up the tree.
Is that what you're asking me right now?
I just wanted to bring up the fact that it was another one of the things.
Horror
that was a
Dork's
great
been
callback.
canceled.
It was almost like when they were making it, they're like, "Well, we how are we going to do the tree rape scene?" And someone was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, we have to do a tree rape scene. It's an Evil Dead movie." And they're like, "We're going to do it tastefully."
Yeah, they did it really. Well, they did it really cleverly, and she's like being strangled by these, and you're not sure if she's just like tangled up. But at this point, the book has been unleashed, and she's she's about to become possessed.
Yeah, that seemed more gruesome to me than the original.
Oh, it was. It's funny because it was
Just
gruesome,
because
but it
of
was
the
also.
thorns,
felt
I'm like, man, that's got a frickin' hurt.
And they didn't do the collapse.
Cat's
ridge.
penis.
I do remember too when I was watching this movie, because when this movie came out in theaters, I had a Jeep.
You do?
A Jeep Wrangler, and it's so funny because I had told my wife like I wanted to get a snorkel for it, even though I never went off roading with with my Jeep. Like I was one of those guys that had like a Jeep Wrangler, but it never.
It's an all-terrain vehicle. You can take it into the water.
And
It's just like a snorkel that hangs down from the ceiling. You put in your mouth if you
Yeah,
go
exactly.
under the.
But like I kept telling my wife, I'm like, I want to buy a snorkel kit for this, and she's like, why? It's like because. And then this movie, we're watching this movie, and it happened. And I go, there you go. That's all the justification I need now. We need a snorkel kit for the
That's
Jeep
not
in case we
CGI,
get
by the
stuck
way.
in the.
What?
That river.
Really?
Yeah, they really waited for that thing to flood. Fede Alvarez, I remember this from way back when he was talking. I'm pretty sure it's on the commentary. I could be wrong. Could have been an interview. He said that people accuse him of it being CGI, and it's like, no, we really just waited days for that thing to actually flood, and we went and shot it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait for his Alien movie. They're filming it right now, and I can't wait to see what his take on Alien is. It's gonna be.
Is it like
awesome.
like Xenomorph Alien?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if you meant like
He's doing a movie, and also filming concurrently right now is a TV show that's being done by the guy that did Drive. He was supposed to be doing a Maniac Cop TV show, but I don't think that I had not heard anything about that in like 3 years. I really don't. I think that's dead.
The problem is you're missing
Unfortunately.
two of the most important chins in that movie because Bruce Campbell said he's like not doing those kind of movies anymore.
Robert-
But he was going to be in the show.
Robert Zadar is dead.
Yeah,
The
he's
Maniac
willing
Cop,
to be in the show. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I'd
I'm
imagine.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I would.
I have no clue.
I like the fact that like the whole premise of that movie is like, well, it's got to be him because they keep talking about how big the chin was of the killer. So it's got to be him. And it's like, no, it's not my chin.
Man, that movie is awesome. I want to do those movies.
Robert Zadar was
on the podcast
has
sometime.
such a like he has a one of a kind profile. Like
Oh yeah.
nobody can ever have that. And I remember too, like because the first movie I saw him in was actually Tango and Cash.
Okay, is he like one of the heavies?
He's the one that they like when they get thrown in prison, he's the one that they put in jail. He's like, you broke his nose. Because he just his profile alone looks like he's just fucking.
I mean, he's a bad movie. Like
he might have been the one that got the
he's in a
grenade
ton
in
of
his
bad.
pants. I can't remember. And that's where they started talking about Fubar.
I zoned out. I'm sorry. I don't know what we're talking about.
Tango and Cash.
Talk about
Oh, Tango Cash. Okay.
Robert.
Tango is a police officer who loves money, but the one thing he doesn't love is cash. I still remember the ad.
Yeah, dude. I watched that movie a lot.
Also, because I'll watch anything with
Sylvester Stallone.
no other one. Jack Burton.
Oh, you got a problem with Sylvester Stallone?
No, I like Sylvester Stallone, but he's not the reason. It's Kurt Russell.
No, give me something to drink. That's brisk, baby.
Rock, you gotta drink your breast.
Dude,
I remember those commercials.
It's over, Rock. I'm throwing in the towel.
That impression just put my mind into the Greg the Bunny, not the TV show that was like on Fox, but they did their own shorts thing, and they did
Dead Puppet
they
Storage.
did Dead Puppet Storage, and Greg the Bunny was trying to do John Travolta, so he's in there going, "Yeah, I'm John Travolta over here. Bring me a steak over here."
Yeah, everybody's John Travolta impression is for some reason "Welcome Back, Kotter."
Yeah.
Over here. It should be Battlefield Earth.
I don't think
I
I
enough
don't
people
even
have seen that
remember anything
movie.
about that movie besides that one dude's in prison
Got
and John
dreadlocks.
Travolta
Yeah, he
is,
looks like Gary Oldman in True Romance.
And there's a and there's the one part in it that I can't remember. Like I always am like, was that in Planet of the Apes or Battlefield Earth or both? Where he's like, is there a soul in there, man animal? Because it could have been in either or both.
Was it
It's a
Tim
very
Roth
similar scene.
growling? Because if it wasn't, then then you're thinking of Battlefield Earth.
You know, at the end of this
He's a
movie,
fucking nerd.
I was going to bring this up earlier. I just remembered when you're talking about David bringing Mia back to life with his homemade defibrillator, that's rigged together with parts. She's actually under the ground. Jane Levy.
Yeah,
They were
she
really
is.
stabbing
Yeah.
her.
No, but she's under the
She signed a
dirt because
contract. She should read those things.
Fetty wanted him to actually have someone that he's talking to at that moment because he thought it would help make it more
Instead of a tennis
realistic.
ball. I'm saying because like CGI, they always
Oh,
it'll be like
no, she's under the ground.
as opposed
yeah,
to just being like a pile of dirt that he's
Yeah.
reacting
But
to.
they used the old trick where, they leveled off the edges and then they put 2x4s over it with dirt on top of
But
it.
again, read your contracts before going into a movie.
Oh, I guess she was a great sport about everything.
This was
I
her
mean, she
first
was
major movie role,
her first major movie role.
first starring movie role.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's like a horror movie. I want to say
I know
read
she was
that
in
on
movies
IMDb.
before this, but
Yeah, this is like
some
her
of them I
first
didn't
horror
know,
movie.
so I didn't know if she had starred in stuff before
Yeah.
that. Wait, what the heck was I gonna say? I don't remember.
You're talking about how they filmed her being underground and how they did.
Oh, she was a great sport.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she went through a lot of emotional damage. Like she was talking on one of the special features,
I forgot she was in Shameless.
and she's only in a couple episodes, right?
Yeah, but she's a Milkovich.
She said Fatty came up and said, just so you know, I need to make sure that you're sleeping. Like even if you have to take a pill or whatever, you got to be sleeping because this next 7 days are going to be grueling. She said it absolutely was. But Fatty's talking. He said anytime we asked her to do anything, she never said no. Her ego never got in the way. I guess she would throw like temper tantrums and stuff once in a while, but because she was so emotionally overwhelmed with having to go to those depths in character, as well as dealing with like, imagine just having blood dumped on your head for 2 whole days straight, 10, 12-hour days.
Yeah, and this movie was shot like mostly in chronological
It's getting
order
everywhere. It's
as
getting
well.
in your mouth. It's getting in your nose. Imagine running through the woods. You got mud going in the same places,
Especially the ending where it's literally raining blood, so you're wet all the time with this sticky crap.
Right.
Well,
And the part where she's running through the woods, they had the camera operator was on a zip line and it shot down, so she had to literally be off of the path or he was going to rail into her. So
We're
it was
very
a little
Evil Dead, very shot like
Yeah,
Sam Raimi
and
style.
I think-
You better move or
I
you're
think
gonna
the
get.
second unit director or someone got upset with her because she said the one take she wanted to wait till the last second to hop out of the way, and it made everybody's heart stop.
well, like, did you? I don't like. 'Cause again, I read the Evil Dead companion and everything, and when you read about like what they went through in the first Evil Dead, so it was they were living or they're staying in that cabin for those days, and it was extremely cold. Um, they were all soaked with fake blood, which was sugar. Basically, it was the
Yeah,
it was
I mean,
the
like,
corn syrup.
Caro syrup, yeah.
A lot of the
Like,
times by
and-
the end of the shoot, like by the time they're done like filming, the shirts are like so saturated and you could like break them.
They did
literally.
break because they would
Right.
put them to get them warm. They put them by the portable heaters, and they would cook.
Yep,
the
that's not
thing,
good.
and they would actually make it. So they did break.
Once
like,
that stuff
Ash's shirt
dries, it's like hard.
broke at one point. Plus, when you listen to for all the Evil Dead ones, when you like I saw Bruce Campbell talking about the stuff that they had to
Very funny.
They had to, like,
commentaries.
pay close attention, like because one of the scars that he gets is real because it happened from filming. So then they had to figure out. But they went
What's
to
the
like
story behind the scar?
it was Sam Raimi hitting him with stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like that's the story. Like everything that Bruce Campbell ever gets hit with in the Evil Dead movies is Sam Raimi
Right.
launching it, and
Yeah.
not because for professional reasons, just
No,
because Sam
there's-
Raimi likes to torture his
Yeah,
friends.
there's a funny story in Spider-Man 2. the scene in the beginning, Pizza Time, when he brings in he opens up the closet and all those brooms are. That's Sam Raimi hitting Tobey Maguire in the face with broom handles. He's like, yeah, I mean, like, it's not just Bruce Campbell. Like, Tobey Maguire got like beat the crap. He almost didn't do what Spider-Man 2 or 3 because he's like,
Oh, really? I never heard that.
yeah. It was Jake Gyllenhaal almost was going to be Spider-Man instead. He was dating, what's her name? Kirsten Dunst. He was like very close to replacing Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I think also because because like the original cabin burnt down.
But that's what Tobey Maguire said. That's why he didn't want to do the movie.
Well, there was like
Sorry, go on.
like a part of it was very demanding, and he hadn't. Tobey Maguire is also like, I guess, like a tough guy to work with. Like you hear that about like he's kind of like you get what you'll when he's there you'll get what he'll perform for you, but he's like sort of a difficult actor, like sort of like how you hear like Ed Norton is kind of not in that way, but like in that kind of sense where why you don't really see Tobey Maguire in movies a lot. It's because he's kind of tough to work with.
Which that's the thing that gets around too. Like every time you hear about him, it's like, oh,
yeah.
What were you saying about the cabin?
Oh, like just the cabin, like the original cabin burnt down. Like you can actually get pieces of it. Like people sell pieces of it.
Oh, really?
All over the place. At one point, I used to have a necklace that was
like Jesus's cross.
Yeah,
like
but I had a necklace. It was a vial filled with dirt. That was from the Evil Dead cabin that a friend got me, which is great until the day that I was wearing it, and somehow the top came unscrewed because apparently they didn't glue the top shut. So I'm like, I went like this, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I reach into my shirt and I pull out this empty vial. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And all I had was just dirt inside my shirt. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what? Then I ate the dirt because it's like it's Evil Dead dirt.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
You licked it off your own body.
I'm very flexible. We have a guest. We have a guest about to join us, Mr. Cyril.
So, what was everyone's favorite parts?
I mean, oh God, you can't go wrong with just like the blood raining down, the one-liner, and the cutting someone in half.
Dude, went with the chainsaw, like that scene where she's got she's like feast on this motherfucker, and she sticks the chainsaw in there. Put that shit on the side of a fucking van. Like that is it's such a great visual.
It is. I think didn't you send us that
when I was watching it, I'm like, man, this looks so awesome. This is like this is such a great visual.
Yeah, it's
in a movie filled with like awesome visual stuff.
Yeah.
Like the nail gun that works exactly like how a nail gun works. We can shoot it like a real gun.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly how those work. They're so powerful. The pneumatic nail gun, no air hose.
The nail gun that was in the cabin that has just been sitting dormant for you.
Also, I've been shot by a nail gun.
Years.
From that far away, it's not going to go through your hand and into your chest. Just going to put that out there. Because I put one through my hand once because
stigmata.
Yeah, exactly what it was. I was trying to become the second coming. No, because I used to work in a factory and I was in the shipping department. And
you stapled.
They tell you straight out like you got to be careful where your hands are on it because I was nailing these boards together and it hit a knot hole and
went sideways.
Apparently so that hit and the nail ricocheted and went like just skimmed off my hand. It just ripped a chunk out of my hand. It didn't go through. But it was so funny too because that was actually the same day that I had won a gift card for the safety, the safety thing. Like I didn't have any reportable. I didn't have any reportable incidents for the month, so I got put into a drawing and I won. And they came by and like.
Since our last incident.
Yeah, they come by and they're like, Golden. I'm like, what? They're like, are you wearing your steel toes? Because you had to chat. Like that was another thing. You had to have steel toe shoes on. And I'm like, yeah. And I took like this massive tape measure and I threw it down on my foot to show, but I missed where the steel was, so it actually hit the. I'm like, ah. And I'm like, why? So we gonna here to write me up because I was just such a rebel. Dottie. I'm a rebel, Dottie. And they're like, no, you won the drawing. Here's your gift card. I'm like, okay. And then it was like literally 20 minutes later, I'm like, boom, and I'm like, ah. And I'm like, oh my God. And like my supervisor was like, well, you're gonna lose that gift card. I go, no, the gift card's for not having a reportable. I was like, I just won't report this. And I'm like, just bandaging my hand up. But like we used to shoot nail guns at each other for fun all the time, and it wouldn't go in that far. Staple guns more.
No.
Like we weren't totally insane. It was mostly the staple gun we would try to do. But yeah, I mean, I do know that you can rig it to where you go past the safety measure, but
Right.
because we were good at
Maybe
that.
if you do some myth,
But it also isn't going to have that much velocity to go, especially without the air hose. Pneumatic tools kind of.
Well, when you have demon powers to propel it.
Stop. Then why did they have to have the meat carver plugged in?
You think I understand the workings
understand.
and the logic of a demon? Of a deadite? Of whatever the being was that
They're
was
demons.
controlling it?
They're demons. It's Kandarian demons.
Oh, so yeah, I
That's
do have a
obvious.
relationship to Kandarian, so I would know about
You told us you
Kandarian.
did. You made us read that
That,
book.
that was Mr. Sir, talking about his lineage of magic history.
It's magic. She's like, I have spoken to the Kandarian demons of the past. Henrietta says hello.
Yeah, this movie was not
Henrietta
accurate.
said-
Who's in my
That
fruit
much.
cellar? Sorry. I love Henrietta.
There's also some.
Henrietta.
Oh, the dikes that he uses to stab.
Now we're getting demonetized.
Yeah.
No, DY.
Yeah,
That he uses
that's how
to.
I've seen the other one spelled too. But
Oh, really? Everybody's
I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
I'm
Whatever.
sorry.
He-
guys.
He clearly means the
Yeah, yeah.
they're
tools.
called dikes. He stabs David in the neck with it. I was like, come on, man. I mean, like the edge of those are sharp, but I've never seen anyone be able to stab someone. At least you could break skin, but
You
it's
should-
not going through somebody's.
You
neck.
should have met my
Especially-
stepfather.
especially somewhere where it's like soft and resilient.
My
I don't know,
my
man. You could,
stepfather was he was the one that taught me how to throw knives and everything. He threw a pair of those. He threw them across the room and stuck
Oh,
them
really?
into hard wood.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Yeah, those will.
in a tornado,
beveling.
like you'll see like stuff that normally wouldn't be able
Yeah,
to.
but look at the power that's behind it.
We're talking. All right. Well, your argument was that there was a power that was able to shoot nails through the thing. And,
Right, but I'm just saying he's just kind of like a quick jab like that, you know.
That's the quicker is what makes it go deeper.
Maybe.
That's
It
what I
just
tell
didn't
the
feel-
women.
I was just gonna prove my point to Golden that there's a lot of stuff that you could argue about being non-realistic that happens in this
You mean like the
because of the
defibrillator?
demon's abilities,
right.
the Deadite's abilities.
Because
Well,
I have a
like, yeah,
friend
like
who's very
Mia
hardcore
slices
about-
her tongue in half, and then later she has
Well,
taken
that's
no
just your-
Well, she
damage.
also
That's
gets
just your
burned from
demonic
the hot
healing
water,
powers.
Yeah.
and once she's purified it,
How
all
did you
goes
guys like the
That's magic.
inside the wall machete scene?
Oh, that
Yeah.
was. I love that when she like.
I was
it
I
goes
was a
right
little
through her
upset
leg.
though, like
Man, that was nasty.
I was a little upset that they stopped trying to stab her as she was in one spot, slowly going through the hole. I'm like, she's gonna get a machete in the booty, but nope. The dad's like, no, we're good now. We don't need to keep stabbing, even though we got her where we want her. Also, like, how is it a must in every horror movie that you can't just have a one layer wall? Every horror movie, the walls have to have a space in them so that somebody.
Most walls do.
Ours don't. My wall is like.
Well, I'm saying most
someone's gonna
walls
fit
have a space
not like that.
in between. No, not like that. But in
Go to
between.
my house, you
and
show
then
me
you
where
would get
that
hung
wall
up on a
is.
joist.
But I'm just saying, like that. That's like the fun cliche too. Is like, oh
Yeah.
look, we can be between the walls.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an old cabin that's not like insulated or anything, and that was the shed too. That part of it was the shed.
You have to have multi-layered walls in your shed.
Hmm.
Also, a
I don't know.
nice little underground
I've always wondered that too because in some
shed.
movies, like I
or
think
shed.
people under the stairs, they're in the wall, right?
Right.
And
That was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's an old Victorian.
well, that's what I'm wondering because
back when
in
they
that
made
New
it the
Zealand
vampires.
film, Housebound,
That was
Yeah.
so good.
right? Yeah.
I
so-
remember when we
Excellent
did that.
movie.
We did that one.
Yeah.
And was that PHF?
yeah, we did it
Yeah.
for Horror Dork and PHF, right?
Have
Yep.
you seen this or?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
great movie.
Either way, it
It was
one
on
our
one of the
podcasts.
podcasts,
It was one of the podcasts.
old podcasts.
in the Horror Dork franchise.
the
Horror Dork
extended
verse.
Horror Dork
You know,
Horror-
universe.
the dark Horror Dork verse.
Man, that is one of the funniest like title cards ever. You watch the 2017 Mummy, that Dark Universe thing came out. Well, that's the last time we'll ever see this.
They Babe Ruthed it. They tried to call their shot.
I mean, they really,
It was confusing because everyone thought Dracula Untold was part of it, but then they were like, no, it's not.
but it sort of is. And also, they were sort of like that Benicio del Toro movie was like not that one, but the sequel to it. I think they sort of like
There's a Wolfman sequel.
yeah. There's a second
It's
one
called Wolfman.
It doesn't have Benicio del Toro in it. It's called like Werewolf or Wolfman
Snatch.
semicolon something, and I believe Dracula is in like a post-credit scene or
I'm gonna
something.
watch
in
that.
I mean, what they need to do is talk to Dean Koontz and actually make his Frankenstein
They
the
did.
right way. They made it shitty.
It's just like the book.
It's not like,
It's like the 3 books. Yeah.
first of all, there's more than 3 books.
No, there's only 3.
There's more than 3 books.
With
Son
not
of-
with the same character.
yeah, with Frankenstein.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
He made a whole series out of it.
I
And
thought that
originally-
I thought it was like a different Frankenstein in those
No.
books.
originally the whole premise was that he was making it for the TV show.
Right.
And USA, like he had, who did he have? Was it Scorsese? Like he had one of the big director like in on it. And then USA was like, the studio was like, well, what if you do this? And they kept trying to mess with it so much that he's like, you know what, I'm done. And then so did the director. So then they're like, we could still make it. We got Parker Posey. And then they made it like, it is such like a garbage telling. It was so
My mom loved those Dean Koontz books. Like she was on a
they're
huge
really
kick
good.
where
It's
she
an
loved Anne
amazing
Rice,
premise.
Dean Koontz.
But the Dean Koontz, the Frankenstein series,
That's
which
why I
he
read
then
those
actually he has that actually go into some of his, like there's definitely in his universe
Crossover, dude.
there's crossovers,
Right, for
some of
sure.
them.
I
Odd
thought I knew.
Thomas.
I thought I
And
knew
Odd
it.
Thomas.
I thought I knew a Dean Koontz book, and I was like, nope, that's Michael Crichton. I was gonna say, oh, it crossed over into Jurassic Park
Definitely not Dean
You
Koontz.
do know a Dean Koontz book,
or
Frankenstein.
Congo.
Because
Um,
he does
Odd
it into his
Thomas.
into Odd Thomas. He does it into
You
Seize
like
the
that
Night
movie.
guy.
Yeah,
The Seize the Night character. But the Frankenstein, it's a really it's an
Frankenstein.
such a
Frankenstein
good story,
goes
'cause
to
of course,
Hawaii.
the
That's
Frankenstein
second book.
monster is the hero in it, not the bad guy. The bad guy is actually Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Stop, because I want to watch Frankenstein Goes to Hawaii and it doesn't exist.
Frankenstein.
or
A Tale
we
Through
can make it
Time.
now.
It's a time travel movie.
Oh my, stop right now.
That'd be so-
Where he
I need
undoes the
ridiculous
events of the
premises.
first movie.
For these old Universal movies now, watch the shit out of them. They should do Tucker
Ernest,
and Dale,
Ernest meets
like-
Frankenstein.
Abbott and Costello, you know?
Oh yeah, like Tucker and Dale meet the Wolfman.
Well, I just meant more modern, you know?
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale meet Jason.
It's sort of what
Why
that's
can't they
sort
go
of
to the
what,
Wolfman?
Bubba Hotep, bringing it back to
Oh.
Bruce Campbell, was
Fucking
sort
love
of
Bubba
going to
Hotep.
be. They were going to do the Bubba Nosferatu, but those movies are
Well,
never
but yeah, but it was just about vampires. It wasn't actually
Right.
the Nosferatu character.
Right. There's a lot of Dracula stuff coming out. I just watched Renfield.
Tons.
which was good.
Renfield,
There's that
Sick
last.
Voyage of the Drawn
Yes. There's. You were telling me
There's
that.
a Nosferatu movie coming out with a. Oh shit! Why can't I think of the director?
Oh, it's
There's that
Robert
series
Eggers.
that already
yes.
came out.
Robert
That's gonna be
Eggers, who
fantastic.
did The Witch, and did
That-
you watch
that's like
The
a safe-
Northman?
Safe Las Vegas bet right there.
Yeah, he's doing that
Watch it
guy.
be
That
awful now.
guy, the guy that did that is doing Nosferatu.
Northman, The Vitch.
Yeah.
What was the one in The Lighthouse?
Not like
The
the
Lighthouse.
You did not like The Vitch?
We did that one.
Do you not
on
know me?
VHS.
Like, how would I like?
Well, I
that
remember
movie?
talking to you about that, and you were like, "Guys, I really like this movie, but I felt we'd have a better dynamic on the podcast." I said I didn't enjoy it.
That
Said,
was
you,
a
you know what I
slow
really
burn.
like was that really slow burn movie that didn't even burn; it just sizzled. That slow
we had,
sizzle.
we had our buddy, we had my buddy Kyle Kesey on that one.
We did. I
Yeah.
thought that was for the Babadook
Oh, you're right.
Babadook.
You're right.
from Kesey Cast.
That's
Or
right.
what's his show now?
That he does. Pardon me, Deck One Delt, which is a ICP centric.
Yeah, he's such a cool dude.
Yes, I love Kyle's awesome.
I think we're all in agreement, though, right? That this is a great movie.
Oh, love
you
it.
should see it.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
2
5 out
thumbs
of
up.
5 masterpiece. Love
Golden's
it.
gonna give
Highly
this 2.5
recommend.
thumbs or
I'll give
something.
it- I'll give it
I've
nothing.
never seen
I
it.
thought we
It's
weren't
on.
doing that.
It's free on
No,
Tubi.
just like recommend. Highly
It is free on
recommend.
Tubi. Yeah, that's how I watched.
So
Yep, it's
high
free on
recommend.
Tubi. But if you don't own it, like definitely buy this movie. Like if you haven't watched it, like if you're a fan of The Evil Dead, or if you just like violent horror movies,
Don't
like,
listen to
this
the
is-
gatekeepers because
No, like,
it's
this-
disgusting how much.
In my opinion,
hate.
I haven't seen the new Evil Dead, but
You
as
haven't?
far as no,
I'll be watching it
it's
soon.
good.
I already bought it.
We're gonna be
Pre-ordered it.
reviewing. Yeah, we're gonna
Next
be
week.
reviewing it next week. It comes out on VOD on Tuesday, so
Yeah.
we're gonna be.
I really
We're gonna
thought
be.
you and Courtney went and saw that movie.
Pre-ordered
We
it.
were going. I was going to go see it, but we we weren't able to secure a sitter, so
I remember
I
during
couldn't
the
really-
pandemic when it was supposed to come
I
out,
could have
the
taken my
HBO
kids
Max.
to go see it, but our mutual friend Paul, he already saw the movie. I didn't want to sit right behind him and have our kids cry and whatever. Actually, my daughter's really super into horror movies. She actually probably would like.
my daughter wants to be into horror movies. Like she's always like, when can I watch that? When can I watch that? But then like we'll watch like an episode of Scooby Doo and she'll be like, oh, we need to turn this off because it's too scary. I'm like,
I think
this
the-
is why you're not watching Nightmare
Yeah,
on Elm Street with
I
me.
think the litmus test I think is Gremlins. Gremlins I think is like the next level to go to
Bait him in
horror
with cuteness
movie.
and then
Maybe
just turn it
maybe
into
ease them in with Monster Squad first before the litmus test.
love Monster Squad. Wolfman's got nards.
Because there's nothing really too scary.
And the Dark Monster Squad universe.
So I think Gremlins is great, but it might be for a 8-year-old. It might be harsh still.
Yeah, cool.
I remember watching Gremlins and loving.
My wife is
it.
basically.
I watched Aliens when I was 8.
Oh, yeah.
So like I'm not a good like
Me neither.
person to,
Poltergeist
like,
when I was 7.
My mom had this really strict regimen on what I could watch, and my dad didn't care. So when I went to his house on the
Remember these
weekends,
stories.
boom, RoboCop, Terminator 2, whatever, just species, we're watching it. You know,
My dad didn't
Right,
care
right,
what I
right.
watched.
And my
The only
mom
rule
found out,
was that I
so she's like,
that
"All
I
right,
don't come into the room.
just no excessive nudity.
yeah, 80s horror movies definitely don't have lots of nudity.
None.
Species. Yeah, that movie definitely
No, my dad
doesn't-
let me watch that.
Yeah.
Not my
That doesn't
mom.
have excessive
I was like
nudity.
7 when that movie came out or something.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that movie.
I remember thinking,
parts of that
"Oh my
movie.
gosh, this is the most amazing movie I've ever watched." You know, and then sitting uncomfortably on the couch because my dad, stepmom, and
I think that's why I loved like Bloody Birthday so much.
Oh
Like,
my
I
gosh,
bought it because I was like, oh my god, I found
Dude.
it's the
You
whole
don't like it?
premise is
I've never seen it.
Oh.
these 3 kids were born during a eclipse. And
All
then
right.
so they're all kids, but they're
So
serial
Village of the
nostalgia.
Dam kind
So
of.
much
but they're
nostalgia.
serial killers.
Oh, all
Like,
right.
they don't look like, but they're always like, and at the one point, the girl, because it's 2 boys and a girl, the girl has a hole in her closet that goes to her sister's room, and her 2 friends are paying her
Sexy.
money to watch the sister get undressed. And then it later
That's why
comes
you
out in
like
the
this
movie
movie.
where like she's in. Yeah, I mean, I was like,
you know the cover, right? The one with the
like a
finger
birthday
candles.
cake with finger candles.
Oh, I don't.
I mean, I
this
have
sort
it
of
on
sounds. This
Blu-ray.
sounds.
I feel like
You
we
wanna watch
watched.
this?
familiar.
I feel like you came over and
I'll bring it over next week. The Blu-ray. I've got it on
Gotcha.
Blu-ray because I bought it because I was like, I want to see if this is still as good as I remember.
I remember the
Not quite
Gallo.
as good as
Let me know the
Gallo-ish
special
Happy
features on
Birthday
that.
to
I'll
me,
check.
but
Um,
that one I don't
But
remember.
then it later comes in that hole comes in play because
It's awful.
the sister's like, "What's going on in there?" And she puts her eye right up to the
Sounds
hole,
bad.
and the little sister has a fucking recurve bow and arrow and just like, like point blank range. And I'm like, "Oh my god, no!" I was like, "Why would you do that? That hole showed us boobies earlier. Now it's showing eye trauma. That's not okay."
This is
I
the
forgot about
opposite of
that,
boobs.
yeah.
Maybe that's what gave me my eye issues.
I think it is because that was
That came
intense.
before Fire in the
Yeah.
Sky, didn't it?
I remember watching that as a kid. And just
Well,
being like,
memory unlocked. Now we figured out
That's so
figured out
cool.
where that trauma
Origin
came
of,
from.
Yeah.
Golden
was that
State
right there.
issues.
The same place that gave me boobs then gave me eye trauma, and it fucking all right,
Giveth and
it
taketh.
did. All right, so
Oh, another movie that I watched, and I think this really helped kickstart my love of horror movies, like hardcore, was Hellraiser.
Oh
My dad
yeah,
let me rent
yeah,
Hellraiser
yeah.
1 and 2.
That's good
I think-
formative.
Me and my stepdad.
Phantasm was an early one for me too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
going,
for sure.
Oh, that fucking ball.
I remember seeing stuff in that movie
As far as I don't own,
and just
a
being so
replica of
impressed.
that
I'm like,
yet.
how are they having a ball fly around? But then if you watch the VHS, you can't see it in the Blu-ray anymore since Bad Robot did their thing.
Yeah,
but you can
yeah,
see the
yeah.
fishing line now.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
on the VHS.
Well, thankfully, the Bad Robot version is pretty much the one that's on all the streaming stuff.
for
now.
sure,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Well,
that's
because-
all the remastered one.
Yeah, it had to be because it didn't get vinegar syndrome, but it did the thing where film. Remember we were talking Brad Henderson from Screamcast,
Yeah.
and now he's for TerraVision, but he was saying that like film has a tendency to turn red and blue, I think, or something, or red and green.
so,
and
yeah.
and what happened with that? He told us a story about Bad Robot was they got the movie because
That's right,
because
that's
the
the
film
one.
had turned red.
Mm. Yeah, J.J. Abrams did such a good job with that. Well, he's like like that. That's one of my favorite in the new movies. I'm just like a big sucker for like. I love Phasma. I love her. Big tall lady in
Oh,
in
she's one of my
Force Awakens.
Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Game of
Game
Thrones.
of Thrones. I love her.
She's great.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
I want her in more stuff for sure.
absolutely, and they did my girl Captain Phasma dirty. Killed her off screen. Lame.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I think
yeah.
before we get I highly recommend absolutely go out and get this movie. Watch it immediately.
It's got great kills. It's got over the top. It's got
Yeah, it's
you know
like literally
it's
like
got
one of the craziest endings.
anxiety. It builds up. It's
Yeah,
a
it starts intense and then it really doesn't. Like once the brakes are off, it just keeps going, gets more and more insane as movie gets to like right at the end, like literally it's like you can't get any more blood on screen.
No.
Literally it's like dripping.
literally.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so great.
Yeah, good addition to the Evil Dead franchise, and it makes me watching this makes me so hyped for the new one. Can't wait to
can't wait
watch
for
it.
next week. Yeah.
All right, so I for Horror Dork, I'm Mr. Sir.
I'm Anthony.
And I'm Golden.
All right, and we'll see you next week for Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah. I got a good recommend for you, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should just. Well, let me wrap it up. It's just my caller on Tubi. All right, see you guys.
Bye.